Okay, everybody, we're back. It's Eric from Free NBA Daily Bets. You can find all my bets at Twitter at Easy Money Wins. Again, just like it sounds, at Easy Money Wins. I am negative 27 units on the season. I'm always transparent with my record, win or lose. It's in my Twitter bio, and I have an Excel sheet with all my documented bets, including the juice and unit size. So, nothing to hide here, guys, and I'm fully confident. It's early in the season. I'm a high volume bettor. There's a lot of fluctuation between wins and losses. So, with that said, let's look at the games for today. First game today, we have Orlando at Indiana. Or let's see, Indiana is a minus 6.5 point favorite. The total is at 226.5. Orlando is on a 5-game road trip. This will be the last road game. Last game of the road trip. They're 0-4 on the road trip. So the biggest reason of that is that they lost all offensive just capabilities when Banchero went out. They look lost offensively. It looks really, really bad. So for the time being, I cannot bet Orlando right now. I've bet them like 3 games in a row, and they've lost me money 3 games in a row. And I've just realized that, I can't keep guessing when they're going to be able to turn it on. So I need to see them turn it on. So that's a clear spot for me just to not bet this game as well as the over, because Indiana is an over team and the Orlando Magic are an under team. So I think the Pacers are like 6-2 to the over, and then Orlando's like 2-5 to the under. So what style is going to prevail, and it kind of comes down to like just again Orlando's offense. Like if they figure it out, then they're going to have a chance against Indiana to cover the spread and have this thing go over, in my opinion. But then there's also this possibility of maybe Orlando really clamps down and they think like the only way that they can win is with defense, and they slow Indiana down a lot, and this game stays under, and they cover that way too. So you know, it's just for me, it's kind of tough to bet this game, and that's why it's just a clear stay away game for me because I can't figure out Orlando. And then Indiana, on the other hand, and they showed this pattern last year, guys. Indiana's not a consistent team. I don't think they're a mature enough team. I don't think they have strong enough leadership to continue sustained success because they can't hold win streaks. And if you saw last season, they'd win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. And they're doing the same thing this year to start the season. They're doing win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. And the wins that they have will be really impressive wins. Guys, they just beat the 2 teams that were in the NBA Finals. They just beat the Mavericks on the road, and they just beat the Celtics at home in their last 3 games. So, that should tell you everything. And then who do they lose to in between? Excuse me. Who do they lose to in between? They lose to the Pelicans, who's one of the worst teams, or one of the teams in worst form in the NBA. Like, guys, this is the Indiana Pacers in a nutshell. This is what they've shown. They win the big games, then they lose the next game, whoever they're playing. Then they win a big game, and then they lose the next game. So, like, in my opinion, this is a clear Orlando spot. It's just, I can't trust them. I want to trust them. I love betting on the Magic. I can't get there with it, guys. Okay, next game. We got the Detroit Pistons at the Charlotte Hornets. I like this game a little bit. Um, Both teams are 2-6 to the under, 2-5, 2-6 to the under. Over unders at 222.5. The spread is -1.5 to the Charlotte Hornets. And if you want to ask me who the better team is, I think it's clearly the Pistons. But with this spot of the Hornets, I know they're going to think that they can win this game. So they'll probably play better and score more or shoot better, yeah, because they'll have confidence. Confidence is everything, just in any profession. So or anything that you do, and I really think that they're going to believe that they can beat the Pistons, and they're on a 3-game losing streak, the Hornets. So they're going to be really up for this one. I believe they will. I really do believe they'll be up for this one. That and Detroit is off probably their best win in a really long time. They beat the Lakers at home, and it was in front of a really good crowd. And whenever you beat the Lakers, especially if you're like the Pistons and their current form of a franchise, That's a big deal. And they've won 3 out of their last 4 games. And if you remember, after the first game that they won, they came back home and then got smoked by the Knicks. And then they went out. So, like, obviously, they did not handle success well. And then they went out, beat Brooklyn, and then on a back to back came back home and beat the Lakers. So they handled success well there. But again, there's different levels of handling success, right? So do I think that Detroit's going to handle a 2 game win streak on back to back, feeling super high and mighty after beating the Lakers really well? No, I don't trust them. I want to. I want to bet Detroit in the spot because they're the better team in my view. But as far as like them actually handling this success well and sustaining a win streak and taking, you know, just taking care of business against a team that they're better than them, and then also on the road, like I don't know, guys. I want to bet the Pistons, but I have to see them. I have to see them handle this spot. I think the spot is for Charlotte. That's on my honest takeaway. And then I lean over because if you look at the teams that Charlotte's played, Minnesota and the Celtics, like those are defensive teams, even though they can score. Those are defensive teams, and so I think that's why a lot of their games have been going under. And I know Detroit with Bickerstaff as their head coach, like he's gonna have them playing defense. So I mean, I think that's why a lot of these games have gone under. But I think that 222.5 is a really good spot to take this over. I think obviously the Hornets are going to play really tough, and I think that just drags the game over, in my opinion. And then also the Hornets just don't play any defense. So I mean, again, when the Hornets are going to try to win, they're going to try to outshoot you and hope that you just have a bad shooting night. So that's my thoughts on that game, guys. Next game is a great game just for NBA viewing pleasure. We have the finals rematch of 3 seasons ago. The Golden State Warriors at the Boston Celtics. We have the line at -7, -6.5. There's even a +7.5. So, plenty of line value in either direction. Total is at 229.5 or 230. And it looks like Jaylen Brown is probably not going to play, I believe. I believe he's out. And then Podziemski for the Warriors, he's questionable with an illness. A lot of NBA players getting sick right now, guys. I don't know what that's all about. Let's see. Both can score a lot, but then both also play good defense. Coach Kerr talked about how this is his best defensive team because they have so many players that can stay in front of the ball that they don't have to switch as much. So that kind of it. I would lean under in this game. I'm not going to bet it because I know how capable both offensive teams are. I mean, how both these teams are at scoring the basketball. And even with Jaylen Brown out, I mean, the Celtics have just so many deep shooters. Like, you know, it's if they just catch fire shooting, it's going to fly over. So yeah, I'm going to stay away from the total. But I do lean Boston first quarter, first half. I do think that the Warriors are flying. I know, get me wrong, I'm a Warriors fan, and I know this team pretty well, but I can honestly say this team is really a different constructed team, a different vibe to it, a different confidence to it. And, they still have great shooting. Buddy Hield is, in my opinion, a better Klay Thompson right now. And he's just, I think that was like one of the best, you know, additions in the offseason by any team, honestly. So so yeah, I feel like the Warriors can hang in this game full game. I think they can cover the +7. But I also know Boston wants to smoke them and they want to you know, just show the world like, hey, we're top dog. We're top dog. So I do lean Boston first quarter, first half. I might get there with it, but I mean, all in all, it's kind of a tough game just because I think the Warriors are playing just a little bit above their capabilities, or they're playing like the best version of themselves, and I don't necessarily see that happening this game. But who knows? I could be wrong, and that's why you don't have to bet every game, guys. You can pick and choose which ones you want to bet. That's the advantage that we have as a bettor, is we're not forced to bet every game, but the books are forced to put a lineup for every game. So we have that in our arsenal to decide how we want to put our money and what we want to do with it. So, all right, next game, guys. We got the New York Knicks at the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young loves playing them. We all know that. And also, Trae Young looks like he's going to play. I think he's probable or questionable, but there's a report last night that said he plans to play. Knicks lost last of the road trip. This is the last game of the road trip. They lost at Houston from start to finish the other night after they had a really nice win. New York, I think this is a spot where we can take them first quarter, first half. The Knicks have been such a really good first quarter, first half team in the last on the road in the last like 2 or 3 seasons. They've been really, really strong in the first quarter, first half on the road. So I am looking at that. The spread is -7. So hopefully Trae Young being ruled in, this goes down to like -6.5. We get some good line value. And then I'll be on the Knicks first quarter, first half after their loss in Houston. And, the Knicks are still figuring out their new team and their new style, but they still have a lot of heart and they still play really tough. So I do like the Knicks cover first quarter, first half, and I lean them full game. I don't feel great about full game, but I would lean that way. I think Atlanta is really bouncing back kind of nice. I know they got smoked by Boston the other night, but they were also second game of a back to back, and they came off a really big win. Well, not a big win, but a really good bounce back win in Orlando. I mean, not Orlando, New Orleans. So I don't, I don't know, guys. It's Dyson Daniels and the rest of the backup, well, not backup. I mean, Dyson Daniels not a backup, but the Hawks bench, like they're at home. They play tough at home. They're getting a little bit better and a little bit in better form right now. I don't think I can trust the Knicks full game, but I do like the Knicks to start fast. And yeah, that's where I'm probably going to lean to. The over under is what, 225, I believe. Let's see what it is. Over under is 225.5. And it's tough betting Hawks games under because they just don't play any defense. So I can only look over. The Knicks team total over would be great. And I mean, the Knicks are going to bring defensive intensity. That's why I'm going to stay off this total. But I mean, with Hawks games, if you're betting them under, I mean, man, you got to hold your nose and pray that holds the whole entire game. Because in the fourth quarter, man, it gets bad, it gets ugly. That's where those games go over a lot of the time. So, all right, next game, guys, we have the San Antonio Spurs at the Houston Rockets. Dylan Brooks is questionable. Tari Eason, he's questionable. Spurs will be without Jeremy Sochan. I think he fractured his wrist or something, or hand or something like that. And this is a first of a back-to-back for San Antonio. They're at home versus Portland tomorrow. So, and again, it kind of comes down to, and these two teams just played 2 times on a back-to-back last week, and they split that series. Houston was on a back-to-back, second game of back-to-back in the first game, they lost, and then the next game 2 days later, Houston won, start to finish, and that kind of, and again, in the NBA, guys, it's really, especially in the regular season, and at this point in the regular season, it's all about what teams are able to handle success well off of good wins, big wins. And I'm not saying that like the last game for Houston. Well, no, I mean it was a good win. It really was. I mean you beat the Knicks, a playoff team. That's a good win. So, and then also if Dylan Brooks doesn't play, like he brings an intensity to the floor that's contagious. So if he doesn't play, that is something to keep an eye on. But I can only look Houston in this way. And then the Spurs are without Greg Popovich. And I don't know if Greg Popovich is ever going to coach again, guys. I mean, I know that might be a little bit of a hot take, but I mean, he just the way he looks, like to me, he doesn't look healthy. And he hasn't looked healthy for a couple years now. So, the fact that now they're saying he doesn't feel healthy enough to coach, I don't know, guys. I think definitely this is the last year of Greg Popovich, and that's just how I feel. But I think it showed last game. The Spurs were up big against the Clippers by like almost 30 points, and they squandered that lead and lost the game by like 7 or 8 points to the Clippers on the road. and they have an interim coach now. So that's a different wrinkle for them. So I can only look Houston here, and I might get their first quarter, first half. The full game. Let's see what the spread is. Full game spread. Full game is -6.5. I do lean them over -6.5. The total is 214.5, and I think that's just well. I don't know. It might not be low enough, guys. It might not be low enough because I mean the Spurs, for them to go over, it takes a lot, guys. It takes a lot. The Rockets play hard defense too, so I lean under there. Actually, I'll lean under there. Okay, next game, guys. Next game. Oh my gosh, I love this next game, guys. I really love this next game. I just hope Zion Williamson and Jordan Hawkins play because if they play, I'm telling you guys, this is gonna hit. So you have the Cleveland Cavaliers at the New Orleans Pelicans. This is a 2-game losing streak for the Pelicans, and like I said, Zion Williamson, Jordan Hawkins are questionable. This is the last of their 4-game homestand, though, too. So they won the first game, lost the next 2 games, and this is their last game before they go on the road. Cavs, Dean Wade is out, and then they have the Warriors on Friday at home. So it's +7.5 for the Pelicans. I love it, guys. I really do love it. And the reason is simple is that the Pelicans, they play hard. Like I know they're saying like Willie Green might be losing his job potentially. Like if obviously if he keeps losing at this rate, he probably will. But every time this narrative comes out, and I'm not like a huge Willie Green fan. I'm not. I think that he probably isn't the best fit for them. But at the same time, they play really hard still. That team in general, and I don't think that they've quit on him yet. And I think that not. I think I know that they bounce back really well when they're at home, and I I do suspect that they come out and play really hard tonight. And the bench players, just like any team, the role players and bench players play better at home. And the other thing is that the Cavs are just flying way too high right now, guys, way too high. And a cross conference game, like going to play a Western Conference game on the road, and it's not a spot where it screams motivation for the Cavaliers, in my opinion. Like, they just played the Bucks 2 games in a row. They played the Magic. They're playing their conference, and there's motivation there, and they're winning. So I think that the Pelicans are live in this game. Obviously, I need Zion to play, and I need Hawkins to play. Hawkins is like their best 3-point shooter. Then obviously Zion's just a force. So if Zion and them play, I'll take it at +6. Honestly, +6.5. I would love if it stays at +7. It's going to be a 4-unit play. It's going to be my top play of the day. I'm all over the Pellies, man. I love the Pellies. Over, under. It's 223.5. There's under money coming in a little bit. I don't know, because honestly, I can see. So it's all about what, like with over unders. A lot of time, it's all about like what team is going to show up. So and then from there, then the style takes over the game. So in this situation, like how I'm seeing it, I'm seeing that the Cavs are not gonna be like the sharpest of form, and so or like as intense, and I can see them like being nonchalant, and then I think that leads to nonchalant defense, which means the Pelicans score a lot of points. The Cavaliers can score a lot of points, like no problem. So I lean over. I lean the Pelicans playing well and dragging this total up and over the number of 223.5, which is kind of low, for today's NBA. It's a middle number, but a little bit on the lower side, I think. So I mean, I could easily see a 114, 110 Pelicans win here. So that's the way I'm looking for that game, guys. Next game is the Los Angeles Lakers at the Memphis Grizzlies. And, Anthony Davis had a interesting quote, and, he's really speaking his mind in the media the past couple of years, and, he's still doing it now this year. And he's saying, all these reporters are saying like, oh, he's not playing. Like, there's a clip of reporters talking to LeBron saying he wasn't going to play next game or something. And then you heard him like across the locker room saying, no, I'm going to play. I'm going to play. Like, I don't know where you guys heard that from. So Anthony Davis, he's going to play. That's what he said. So even though he's questionable, pretty positive he is going to play tonight. And then he also said, they're not consistent. One team shows up and then another team shows up and he doesn't know who they are. So, and, you can take that as a shot to JJ Redick too for not having the team ready to play. But then, Anthony Davis has been saying this for the last couple of years. It's like there's not enough consistency. They want to be this great team, but they're not being consistent enough with it. So I do expect them to bounce back. They can't stand Memphis even. Yeah, they don't like Memphis at all, really, even though a lot of their, dislike was really towards Dylan Brooks. But they really still don't like this Grizzlies team. And so I know that the Lakers are going to get up for this one. And Memphis, they're off a loss to the Brooklyn Nets. That was a close, hard-fought game. I mean, Memphis took control early, and then Brooklyn fought back, and it was like back and forth the rest of the way out. So that was a really good game. Tough loss. Not. I mean, not. I mean, every loss is tough. It's not like a devastating loss though for Memphis. But Memphis is back home now, and they play really well at home. Conchar is doubtful. Luke Kennard is questionable. Desmond Bain and Marcus Smart, I think they're most likely out. They're still dealing with like their kind of more serious injuries that they've missed for like the last week now. And so it's really Jaren Jackson Jr., Santi Aldama, and Ja Morant. And then some good bench players. I mean, I like La Ravia and Huff and Scottie Pippen Jr. They're going to play well. They're going to play hard. But if the Lakers come out and they play like they should, I think they win this game, and I feel pretty good about that. I feel pretty confident the Lakers will be a play for me today. So over under is what, 230? Let's see here, 230.5. And let's see here, the Grizzlies have been scoring a lot of points every single game for the most part. And the Lakers can play good defense when they want to, but on the road I don't trust them to do that. So I can only lean over in this spot, over 230.5. That's the way I would look for the total. All right, next game, we have the Chicago Bulls at the Dallas Mavericks. Chicago's on a first of a back-to-back. They're at home Thursday versus Minnesota. Giddey is probable with an illness, Josh Giddey. Patrick Williams is probable. Zach LaVine is still questionable with his thigh injury. They're on a 2-game losing streak. They just recently lost to the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz got their first win against them. And I think I'm getting a good read on the Chicago Bulls team, guys. I don't think they're that good. And they obviously can't rebound because that's how Utah was able to really control that game. And, they just, Vucevic is a very soft front court guy. And, he'll do better against, obviously softer front courts from other teams. But with the Mavericks, Gafford and then Lively's questionable, but those two guys, you're not gonna be able to rebound against them. So I definitely think Dallas controls the glass, and then Dallas is off a loss to Indiana, and they've kind of been going back and forth. They win a good game, they lose a game. They keep going back and forth. So I can only look to Dallas this game. I do think, and this is the fourth game of their homestand. They have one more home game against Phoenix on Friday, and I like teams that are on these long homestands, especially off a loss the last game. So I am probably going to bet Dallas first quarter, first half, and then also Chicago has not started games well. I mean, 2 of their wins they had to come back down from 20 or 30 points, so they're not starting well. And I like that to continue. I think this is a good spot where the trends are pointing favorably for each team. Dallas is going to be motivated. Chicago is going to be motivated too, but they just don't have the good enough players to play, especially if LaVine doesn't play. And I don't think they're going to be able to control the glass. So I like Dallas to control the glass, control the game, bounce back, shoot the ball better. It is now the total is over 235.5. And that's just really because the Bulls aren't playing good defense. And my only concern with that total is I don't know if the Bulls can score that much with what they have. I don't think they're a great shooting team. And the Mavericks can play good defense if they want to. They bring the intensity. I lean under here. Lean under 235 and a half, under 236. That's the only way I can look. I think Dallas plays motivated, and every time just because the team feels motivated. I mean, obviously they could shoot the ball better, but then that means they can also play really good defense and stifle the other team, and that's why a lot of Celtics games go under. I know I'm talking about the Celtics now, but I'm just talking about like good teams that shoot the ball well. Doesn't necessarily mean that the other team that they're playing is going to shoot the ball well, because there's plenty of games where the Celtics just win 122 to like 103 and it stays under the total of like 227, 230, 235. Like, those are common NBA totals. And so I could easily see this total going under, and I might get there with it, guys, because 236 high, and I don't trust the Bulls to score, especially with Levine out. I don't think they're that great of a shooting team to really press it. And I think Mavericks play well and they have some intensity. I think I might get there with that under 236, guys. I think I might get there. Let me see if I wrote that down. No, but I am gonna write that down. I feel pretty convinced. I'm gonna take a look at that. But yeah, that's speaking to me for sure. I don't trust Chicago there to score points. Okay, next game. This is a good game, guys. You got, well, not really because Denver's so banged up. But you got the Thunder going to the Denver Nuggets. Line is -7, OKC, even on the road. And the total is 222. And Denver is going to be without Jamal Murray with his concussion. And then Aaron Gordon is out for like a month, I believe now. So no Murray, no Gordon. And their bench is just not very good. I mean, Julian Strawther, Russell Westbrook is now starting. Christian Braun has been starting, but this is his first year starting. And so, I mean, gosh, and now you don't have Aaron Gordon. So it's literally just Jokic and, man, Michael Porter Jr. Like, I mean, you can be as good as you want with Jokic, but I mean, that's why this line is -7. And I can only look OKC. I think this is a game where Denver's going to try really hard. And again, Denver barely just beat the Raptors last game, guys. So, and Aaron Gordon didn't play the entire game pretty much, and they were down at halftime. So, I I don't feel good about it. I think this is the first meeting. Yeah, this is the first meeting between the Thunder and them this year, and I think the Thunder take care of business here, guys. The Thunder are undefeated, but they're this is the thing. Like, these conference games against top tier opponents, these are really important for tiebreakers. So I I do think OKC comes out and handles business tonight. I am seriously considering betting them. The over under is 223. It's 222 now, 221 and a half. So it's open 223, and now it's going under. And I do lean that way because OKC's done really well holding their opponents under 100 points. And I don't see how Denver scores points tonight, guys. If OKC's gonna so if you think OKC's gonna win the game, which I do, then I can only look at the total going under, because then, in my opinion, OKC's gonna bring the intensity. And you know, I know Denver's going to bring the intensity, but I also know Denver's not going to be able to, score with OKC. So I definitely lean under 222 right now. And yeah, I do, because I think Denver plays hard, which leads to good defensive performance. And yeah, I lean under. I am thinking about betting that under 222. I do like that. That is speaking to me. So we'll see. We'll see if I get there with it. All right. Next game, guys. Got 3 games left. Next one is the Miami Heat at the Phoenix Suns. And let's see here. Phoenix keeps winning close games against teams that they should really be handling. And that's something to keep an eye on. definitely. But then it's also important that they keep winning close games. So, when the point spread's lower and they're playing a better team, like say like Oklahoma City at home in the future, you'll know like, hey, Phoenix has experienced this season at closing out games late. So that's important. It's not good that they're not taking care of business and winning by a lot, but they're showing that they know how to win. So that there is value in that. Bradley Beal is questionable, but again, like I've been saying on all my podcasts, Bradley Beal's not that important, guys. He's really not. And for the Heat, Jaime Jaquez Jr., he's out. I think he has an illness too. Again, there's like some illness going around the NBA. And this is also the start of a 6-game road trip for the Miami Heat. And they've kind of been going back and forth. They were in Mexico City, then they came home to play the Kings, and they lost at the buzzer to the Kings. And now they're going all the way back out west again. Now the Phoenix. So, um, let me see. Let me see what the spread is. Because 5.5, minus 5.5. That's a tough spot because I think Miami is going to play really tough, but Phoenix keeps winning, and so if you think Phoenix is going to win, this isn't like a super tall number. No, it's under the key number of 7. So I can only lean Phoenix here. I just wish that they could start better because I want to bet them here. I just don't know if I can do that. All right, total is 221, and that's kind of weird because Phoenix is they've been playing low scoring games. I would trend under there. I would trend under. I think I would take the under there, to under 221. So it's the only way I could look at that. All right, guys. Next game is the Toronto Raptors at the Sacramento Kings. This is the first home game back for the Kings after their kind of long road trip that they just took, and they just lost to the Raptors 2 games ago in overtime. So, and then there's also the whole DeMar DeRozan and whole Drake thing, the musician, where like they were going back and forth with each other. Just like some, like in my opinion, some like really immature, ridiculous stuff. So, um, I I feel like Sacramento is going to be really ready to go in this spot. The only thing is that I just wish this wasn't the first game back of a road trip for them. So that just kind of makes me feel like kind of because like I don't love taking teams when it's their first game back from a road trip, but this one has some motivation to it. So I can only look Sacramento in this spot. Toronto will be out without Quickly and Scotty Barnes. They're in the middle of a road trip. It's hard to bet against Toronto right now because this team is so like scrappy. I mean, they'll be down 20 all the time and then come back and make it like an 8-point game with like 4 minutes to go. And that's something. I mean, you can't say that like there's no value in betting this awful team that keeps losing in the Raptors because they're finding ways to fight and not quit. And that's exactly what you want in a dog. Like if you're betting a dog consistently, like the Raptors will be for the entire season, like there's value to be had with them. So I haven't touched them yet. I don't think this is the spot to keep betting the Raptors. They're like 7-0 against the spread or something crazy like that. But I do think, let them cool off a little bit and then there's going to be some really good value on the Raptors. And who knows? I might be wrong. Maybe there's still value on just blindly betting the Raptors every night still right now because this line is plus 10 for the Raptors, plus 10.5. And I mean that's tall, guys. That's tall. That's tall for a team that, has had some success and just beat this team and then also, like they're scrappy. Like they keep fighting. So um I think I'm going to be on the Kings first quarter, first half, and then their team total over for the full game because the Raptors don't play any defense and the Kings push the pace. So I don't know about that minus 10.5. I don't know. I need to see the Raptors get smoked once before I can like start betting against them. So yeah, that's my thought on that game. The total is, what's the total for that game? Total is 238. I can only look over. I can only look over in the Raptors games, guys. Let's see. Next game. Last game of the day. We had the Philadelphia 76ers at the Los Angeles Clippers. Line is -1.5 to the Clippers. And over under is 218. So as we know, this is the Paul George game. But, well, yeah, let me say it first. So Paul George, if you don't know, I mean, you probably do know if you're listening this far into the podcast. Paul George played for the Clippers last year. He chose not to re-sign with them, and he re-signed with Philadelphia. So now Philadelphia is playing the Clippers. So this is his return to the team that he used to play for like the last, like, what, 4, 5 seasons, something like that. And, everyone's there that he played with, all his former teammates. And, Paul George, he's 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 kind of interesting. Like he'll talk a big talk, but then he just doesn't look like he's like super intense or like really cares about losses that much. Like he'll just play really hard, and if the team loses, kind of like, well, whatever. Like, that's kind of, in my opinion, been his like energy. So I don't think it's like some huge spot for him, is what I'm trying to say. Like, oh, let me go back and like give my old team the work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, I think he's just Paul George, guys. He can have really monster games, but it's not like, oh, like I don't think he's like highly, highly, super, super competitive. In my opinion, I don't. I think he's a very good basketball player. He wants to play basketball very well, but for this spot to be like a huge spot for them, I don't think so. I like, in terms of like a Paul George revenge game. I don't think so. So, but then also the 76ers are on like what, like a 4-game losing streak or something like that. So, um, that's the only thing that concerns me a little bit, because I really do want to take the Clippers, because I do believe, and if you listen to Norman Powell, the starting shooting guard, he said like he was happy that Paul George left because it gave him and like uh the other former backup, like chance to get like a lot of opportunity. So I think more than anything, I think the Clippers want to show Paul George that, like, hey, we didn't need you. And also, they're on a homestand where they haven't been performing well. They were down to the Spurs by like 30 points the other night and had to like rally back and win. So they're not playing well, but I do feel really strongly that the Clippers win this game. And let me just take a look real quick at the 76ers, what kind of losing streak they're on, because it's hard for me to bet against teams on like really long losing streaks that I feel like have some fight and their roster is finally getting a little healthy now. Let's see here. They've lost 3 in a row. They play the Lakers on Friday. Uh, it's kind of a weird spot, guys. It kind of is, and it gives me a little bit of pause, just to feel super confident with the Clippers. But again, I know that they're going to be the more motivated team. And there's something about playing at the Intuit Dome, or whatever it's called, their new stadium, the Clippers. Like, they have that passionate fan base. So, um, I do lean the Clippers. I like the Clippers. It's hard because I think the 76ers lose both these games in LA, and I think they win their game against Charlotte. I think that'll be their next win. So we'll see. We'll see, you guys. But yeah, I'm probably gonna get there with the Clippers. The total is 218. I can only look under in that game. 76ers games have been going under at a high clip. And then the Clippers play tough defense too. So I might get there with that over under. I might get there with that. But yeah, guys, that is the podcast. I hope you enjoy it. And, I'm gonna bounce back, guys. I always do. I don't feel like I do know these teams really well. It's just a matter of time before I get the good variance going my way. So, follow me on Twitter again at Easy Money Wins. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on all this stuff. So follow me there. Like, subscribe, comment. I enjoy everybody comment, talking to me. I talk back, good or bad. I welcome it all. So Appreciate you guys listening, and I do this every day. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.